Hey guys, Matt with CJ Off-Road here. Today, as you can see on the table, we have got a wide variety of Diode Dynamics brand new Stage Series 3 lights on the table. Now, I was really excited to get our hands on them, and our friends over at Diode sent us pretty much all that they offer. These lights are absolutely incredible, and from what I'm told, they've been working for years on designing these. They feature an 8-year warranty from Diode Dynamics, as well as the customization to be able to mount them as a spotlight or something on your pillar, also to add them as a fog light to your existing bumper. Now, we're going to be installing these on a couple Jeep Wranglers as well as Jeep Gladiators to really show their effectiveness and go over the different models. Now, Diode Dynamics offers these in either a Sport model or the Pro model. When you go from the two, you pretty much double the lumen output as well as the power draw on your system. Now, we go everything from a spot, a flood, a driving, and then these are going to be sort of the fog light style here, where they do have the rounded bezel and it's going to match perfectly. I really like that you can purchase these as a fog light kit, which gives you all the connectors made up to plug right into your vehicle's factory fog light system. Now, with that being said, we're going to dive into one of these individually, show you how to get them installed on our Jeep, so let's get started. So this particular pair of the Diode Dynamics SS3 lights is going to be their white flood pattern. Now, these aren't DOT or SAE approved, and they'd be recommended for a front bumper location where you're only going to use them for off-road use applications. Now, today we are going to mount them into the front bumper just to see what they look like and see just how wide that flood pattern is. Now, each light features 1,750 candela with 18 lux for luminescence, and that's going to be really low due to the fact that these are going to be extremely wide lights. They're also only going to feature 80 meters worth of a distance, but they are going to have a super wide beam that's going to allow you to see when you're backing up or going into really tight areas. They do have an aluminum construction with a black powder coat and the fin pin heatsink on the back, as well as this Deutsch connector, which will allow you either to plug and play into your factory fog lights, or with the included Deutsch connector lead, which will allow you to run that to any sort of aftermarket wiring accessory that you have. First thing that we need to do to get these installed on our Jeep is remove our front bumper, so let's get started. So now we're in front of our 2018 JL, and if you guys have been following along with this build, you know that we never had a stock bumper on here. So what we did today is actually rob this one off of the Gladiator parts that we've been taking off, and it has the factory LEDs, so we just bolted it up there quickly to make sure you guys can get a realization of what this looks like with a factory style bumper. One thing I will mention is that Diode's brackets for the fog lights will work with aftermarket bumpers that do have a hole in them and accept a factory style fog light. Definitely check the description on our website to make sure they will fit, and also make sure to look for that hole cut out for the fog light. The only thing we need to do to remove this bumper is grab ourselves an 18mm socket and a small extension, that way we can get the lower bolts. The top filler piece we do already have removed, and honestly we pulled that off a long time ago and I haven't been able to find it. To get that off, you only need to use a trim removal tool. We'll show you a short clip now on how to do that. Just go ahead and pull the center section off first, and then go underneath, and you'll just pull up and they'll pull out just like that. After you have those lower two pulled off, there's going to be 5 along the front of the bumper we need to pull off. Going to do the exact same thing. Just use your flathead, get underneath the centerpiece, pop that out. Then we can pull the cover right up and out of the way. We're going to use an 18mm socket, as I said before. We're going to use the extension for the outside of the frame rail, and then no extension for the inside. One thing I will remind you of is to remove the factory connection on the passenger side for the fog lights, and then the whole thing will move out as one piece. We're just going to go ahead and do it quick, pull this off over onto the table, and we're only doing this so we can show you guys how to remove the fog lights. You can actually access this just by removing a couple of the panels on the back that we'll show you in a little bit, but to give you guys a better representation of how to do it, we're going to pull the whole thing off. Once you have all the nuts removed from the front bumper, we're going to go ahead and disconnect the factory fog light connection. It helps to squeeze the connectors together and then depress on it a little bit, and it'll pop right out. And we can set these nuts aside and pull the bumper off. You have a table up here, and like I said before, you don't need to do all this. Once you see what I do next, you can be able to do it while it's still on the ground and while the bumper is still in your vehicle. So let's pull it off and set it on the table. So as you can see on both sides, you're gonna have one of these filler panels, and you can do this while it's on the ground, but it is easier to see where everything is up here on the table. Go ahead and grab yourself a flathead screwdriver, and we can go around the border and remove all of these push pins by pulling the center section out. Or if you do have one of these handy removal tools, you pull the center about halfway out, and then you can pull the entire thing out. So we're gonna go ahead and do that with the rest of them here. Definitely save these for later. You will be reusing them. And you have one larger one underneath here, holding onto your skid plate, or your air dam as they call it. So what you're gonna do, like you just saw guys, is just slide it out towards you. It does have to pop around this air dam here, but if you just slide it out towards the edge of the vehicle, we now have access to our factory fog light. Once you have your factory fog light exposed, we're gonna first disconnect this electrical plug up top by pushing in on the brown side, and it'll pop right out. You can push that to the side. Now the rest of these are gonna be 7mm bolts. We've got a 7mm socket, and we're gonna go ahead and remove them. As you can see, they aren't really on there crazy tight from the factory, so it'll only take a little bit to get them free. After about 2 turns, you can pretty much do these by hand. Definitely save these screws. You will be reinstalling them with the brand new Diode Dynamics lights. And once you have all the screws removed, you can pull your factory LED or halogen fog light out of its socket. So we're gonna go ahead and grab our floodlight, and the first thing that we're gonna do is actually flip it around and install our nylon locking nuts. We're gonna set those into the slot here, and that'll mean we don't need to use a wrench or anything like that to get them tightened down, because the casting will hold there in the proper place. That way they won't spin. After you have that done, we're gonna go ahead and set our fog light bracket with these tabs facing towards the front and with these 2 holes up at the top. You can tell the bottom because it has the Deutsch plug there. Once we've got those on, grab our washer on a 5/32 Allen key bolt, slide that into place and snug it up by hand. Do that on both sides. Once you have those tightened down, I like to push it all the way towards the front. This way this light will be pushed back as far as possible. We can go ahead and get these snugged up using a 5/32 Allen key on a ratchet. Same on the other side. And with both of those on, what we're gonna do is set the fog light into place. Once again, those 2 holes up top because they'll mount onto the pins. Grab our 4 7mm screws that we pulled out in the beginning. Get those all started by hand first to make sure they line up with the holes. And we're going to just use a 1/4 inch impact here to make things a little quicker. Don't go crazy with these because it is going into plastic. With all those snugged up, last thing to do is grab the included Diode Dynamics adapter, which is going to go from the factory fog light connection to the Deutsch. We'll plug that into the brown clip first, making sure you hear a clip or see that it's fully seated. Put the Deutsch down below. Make sure that clicks. It'll be a very faint click. You can tuck this down, reinstall our back cover plate, repeat the exact same process on the other side, and then throw it on the Jeep. So here's going to be a side-by-side comparison of the Mopar LEDs versus these Diode Dynamics. You can see that these Diode Dynamics are just super wide. This is going to be, once again, a floodlight that isn't DOT approved, but this could be great for tight situations out on the trail, or if you need a lot of light in a confined area. They were plug and play and super easy to get installed on there. Plus, I do really like how much light is being outputted. The entire room is lit up, and I feel like if you were in the forest or somewhere really tight with a lot of trees or brush around, you could really see in front of you and light up the entire area. Well, about 20 to 30 minutes later, and we have these Diode Dynamics sport floodlights installed in the front bumper of our JL. Now these lights are extremely versatile and they'll come with a few different mounting brackets depending on which kit you go with. We decided to throw them in the front bumper because we wanted to see what they would look like if you decided to use them for off-road use only on a factory bumper. You can buy them with brackets that'll mount up onto the pillar or onto the bumper in a different place. That way you can turn them on separately from your factory fog lights. Overall though guys, the light pattern on this is absolutely exceptional. It is flashing all over the room here and we have a ton of light in a confined area. I think you guys will really like these Diode Dynamics floodlights as well as all the other lights that they offer. Now, if you want to stay tuned to all the latest and greatest Jeep and truck videos, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page, hit that bell so you stay up to date on all of our brand new videos. If you want to check these lights out, be sure to visit cjponyparts.com, and until next time guys, we're going to see you on the trail with a new set of lights. Hope you enjoyed that video. To stay up to date on our CJ Off-Road videos, make sure to subscribe up top here, and for any other installs, make sure to click the link right above.